All right, so are you ready to like really unpack Sai Life Sciences and um, this upcoming IPO?
Yeah.
We're talking pharmaceuticals and big money, and also, some interesting risks to think about.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts here from their Draft Red Herring Prospectus,
Yeah.
which is like the official document for investors,
Right.
and then also a market analysis report.
Mm-hmm.
And so our mission is to basically give you the information so you can make smart decisions about this.
Yeah.
So I guess like right off the bat, what is so interesting to me is Sai Life Sciences' business model.
Yeah.
They are a CRDMO, so a contract research development and manufacturing organization.
Right.
And it means that they're not creating their own drugs.
Yeah.
They're actually partnering with these pharmaceutical and biotech companies
Yeah.
to develop and manufacture those drugs.
Exactly. They are the support system for big pharma in a lot of ways.
Right.
They're handling that research and that production.
Okay.
And a lot of their focus is on small molecule drugs. So think like your traditional pills and capsules,
Gotcha.
which still, dominate the market.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at their financials then.
Okay.
The DRHP shows that they have really impressive revenue growth, like over 64% EBITDA growth in the last financial year.
That's significant, but you have to remember the pharma world is volatile.
Oh, yeah.
And, the success of a CRDMO, it hinges on their clients' drug pipelines.
Right.
So while the growth is, promising, it's not a guaranteed trend.
Right. Okay. So that's something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
What about their profitability?
Yeah.
Are they actually making money?
They are.
Okay.
Their EBITDA margins are healthy, over 20% last year.
Okay.
And this suggests that they're managing their costs well and also pricing their services, effectively.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
But I also noticed in the DRHP that they've got some heavy investments in expanding facilities.
Yes.
Especially in Badar.
Right.
So how does that impact their cash flow?
That's a key question for investors.
Yeah.
Sai Life Sciences is definitely in a growth phase, and that requires significant capital investment.
Mm-hmm.
And building these new facilities, like the ones in Bidar, it's going to increase their capacity.
Right.
But it also puts a strain on their cash flow.
So they're spending money to make money and hoping that these investments pay off down the line.
Exactly.
Right.
So understanding their debt situation and how they're planning to use the proceeds from this IPO, it becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears for a second and talk about their position in the global market.
Okay.
The analysis that you gave me kind of paints them as a major player.
Yeah.
Especially in India.
Yeah, India is quickly becoming a global hub for CRDMOs.
Interesting.
And Sai Life Sciences is really capitalizing on that trend.
Okay.
They have a strong presence in India, and they're expanding internationally as well.
But this report also highlights some really tough competitors, like, these giants like Wuxi AppTech and Lonza.
Yeah.
How do they stack up against these like industry heavyweights?
It's definitely a competitive landscape.
Yeah.
But like Sai Life Sciences, they differentiate themselves
Okay.
by focusing on these specific niche areas within the CRDMO market,
Okay.
like
Right.
complex chemistry and integrated drug discovery services.
So they're not trying to be everything to everyone. They're trying to kind of carve out their own space.
Yeah, exactly. They're finding their own expertise.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the IPO itself?
Yeah.
Do we know like specifics about like the issue size or valuation?
The DRHP, it doesn't mention those details yet.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have to wait for further announcements as the IPO date gets closer.
Okay.
But it will be interesting to see how the market perceives their value and their potential.
Absolutely. All right. So this is where I think it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Let's unpack their growth strategy.
Right.
The DRHP highlights, these expansion plans, R&D investments, and capacity enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely not resting on their laurels.
No, they are aggressively expanding facilities,
Okay.
particularly in Badar, to try to meet this increasing demand for these CRDMO services.
Okay, so why Badar specifically?
Yeah.
What's the strategic advantage there?
Well, Bidar offers several benefits for Sai Life Sciences.
Okay.
First of all, it's a special economic zone,
Oh, okay.
which means they get tax breaks and other incentives.
Gotcha.
Second, it has access to this skilled workforce
Mm-hmm.
and lower operational costs compared to other regions.
Okay.
And finally, the location is really well connected
Okay.
for logistics and transportation.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just about like building anywhere. It's
Yeah.
about strategic location choices.
Exactly. And they're not just adding space,
Mhm.
they're also investing in cutting-edge technologies
Right.
and capabilities to stay ahead of the curve.
Mm.
Innovation is key in this market,
Yeah.
and they seem to really understand that.
So they're building for the future, both in terms of like physical space
Right.
and technological capabilities.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, but with all this ambitious growth, there's got to be some risks involved, right?
Of course, every business faces risks,
Yeah.
and the pharmaceutical industry is no exception.
So let's talk about those risks then.
Okay.
What are some of the major challenges that they're facing or that they could potentially face?
Well, regulatory challenges are a big one.
Okay.
The pharmaceutical industry is so heavily regulated.
Yeah.
They need to stay on top of all these evolving rules, not just in India,
Right.
but globally as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about like the US FDA and other international regulatory bodies.
Right.
Compliance is non-negotiable.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Navigating that whole regulatory maze, that's got to be a challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
Another risk factor is client concentration.
Okay.
They rely on a relatively small number of large clients.
Right.
So if they lose a major customer, it could really impact their revenue.
It's like putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Are they taking any steps to like diversify their client base?
The DRHP mentions that they're actively working on diversifying their client portfolio.
Okay.
They're targeting a wider range of pharmaceutical and biotech companies,
Mm-hmm.
both large and small, to spread out that risk.
That's good.
Yeah.
But even with a diverse client base,
Right.
they're still operating in a very competitive landscape.
Yeah.
So how are they planning to stand out from the crowd,
Yeah.
win new business?
Well, apart from their focus on these niche areas like complex chemistry, they're also emphasizing operational excellence.
Okay.
They've implemented these lean manufacturing principles and other initiatives to optimize their processes and reduce costs.
So it's not just about having the best science.
Right.
It's about delivering it efficiently and in a cost-effective way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to invest in R&D to develop these new technologies and capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
They have a dedicated R&D team that's focused on identifying emerging trends and developing new solutions that address the evolving needs of their clients.
It sounds like they're taking a really kind of multi-pronged approach to stay ahead of the competition.
They are.
Let's talk about the people behind Sai Life Sciences for a second.
Okay.
The leadership team.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about their expertise and their experience?
Well, the DRHP gives us some insights into the background of their promoters.
Okay.
The founders, Kanimuri Rangaraju and Krishnam Raju Kanimuri, they have deep roots in the pharmaceutical industry. They've been in this business for decades.
Wow.
And they have a solid understanding of its complexities.
That experience is invaluable, especially when you're navigating the challenges of an IPO and leading a company through this period of like rapid growth.
Absolutely.
What about their board of directors and their corporate governance practices?
That's something worth looking into as well.
Yeah.
You know, understanding their track record and their commitment to these ethical and transparent operations.
Right.
It's essential for assessing the company's long-term prospects.
It's not just about the numbers and their market share.
Exactly.
It's about the people making the decisions.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered quite a bit here.
We have.
We talked about their business model, their financials, their market position, their growth strategy, the risks they face.
Yep.
And then we got a little glimpse into their leadership.
Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on Sai Life Sciences and this upcoming IPO?
Well, based on what we've seen so far, they're a fast-growing company with a solid track record and ambitious plans for the future.
But there are some risks to consider.
Absolutely. The pharma industry is inherently volatile.
Right.
And they face stiff competition.
Yeah.
But they also seem to be taking these proactive steps to mitigate those risks and position themselves for success.
Okay, so
Yeah.
as we move on to the next part of this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want you to keep this question in mind.
Okay.
Is Sai Life Sciences truly poised for success,
Yeah.
despite the challenges that they face?
Right.
We're going to delve a little bit deeper into their strengths, their weaknesses, and what sets them apart from their competition.
Sounds good.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And to answer that, responsibly, we need to look beyond, just the financials and delve into, what makes Sai Life Sciences tick.
Right.
What are they doing to stand out in this crowded market?
Okay, I'm all ears.
Well, one key thing is their focus on building deep expertise in specific areas.
Hmm.
They're not trying to be a jack of all trades.
Right.
They're mastering specific niches.
Okay. Give me an example. Like, what kind of niche are we talking about?
Well, they're known for their strengths in complex chemistry,
Okay.
particularly in areas like high-potency APIs, which are active pharmaceutical ingredients, and also specialized manufacturing processes.
Okay.
These are areas where a lot of CRDMOs struggle,
Right.
but Sai Life Sciences has really invested in developing these capabilities.
So they're tackling the tough projects that other companies might shy away from.
Yeah, it's a bold move,
Yeah.
but it's also strategic.
Co.
By specializing in these complex areas, they're really positioning themselves to be the go-to partner for these pharmaceutical companies that are facing these really challenging drug development hurdles.
Yeah. They're not afraid to take on the hard stuff.
Right. And that sets them apart.
I see. So it's about like building a reputation for expertise in a very specific area.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that the DRHP mentions integrated drug discovery services. So what does that entail?
That's another area where Sai Life Sciences is really innovating.
Okay.
They're offering this more holistic approach to drug discovery,
Okay.
where they're bringing together, multiple scientific disciplines under one roof.
So instead of a pharmaceutical company having to go to like different providers for different stages of the
Right.
drug discovery process,
Exactly.
Sai Life Sciences can kind of handle it all.
Yes. They have in-house expertise in biology, medicinal chemistry,
All right.
DMPK, which stands for drug metabolism and pharmacokinetics,
Wow.
and even preclinical testing.
Okay.
So they can take a drug candidate from its early stages all the way through to preclinical trials. And that really streamlines the whole process for their clients.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for their clients to have everything under one roof.
Yeah, for sure.
It allows for, better collaboration and communication between the different scientific teams,
Right.
which can lead to faster development timelines and potentially higher success rates for these drug candidates.
It sounds like they're really trying to be like a one-stop shop for drug discovery.
They are.
And that's got to be a pretty compelling value proposition for any pharmaceutical company looking to outsource those services.
It aligns with this industry shift towards these integrated solutions. Pharmaceutical companies are realizing the benefits of partnering with organizations like this that can handle, multiple aspects of drug development from the discovery to manufacturing.
So Sai Life Sciences isn't just riding the wave.
Yeah.
They're actually trying to shape the future of drug discovery.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
But even with all this innovation, there's still those inherent risks
Right.
that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So what are they doing to mitigate those risks?
Well, when it comes to, those regulatory challenges, they've really built this robust quality management system that's compliant with these international standards.
Okay.
And they have a dedicated quality team that ensures that all of their processes and facilities meet the requirements of regulatory bodies like the US FDA, the EMA, and others.
So they're taking compliance very seriously, which is, crucial in this industry.
It is, absolutely.
Okay, so what about client concentration?
Right.
How are they addressing that?
Well, they're actively trying to diversify their client base by targeting a wider range of pharmaceutical and biotech companies, both big and small.
So spreading the risk, not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Right.
What about the competitive landscape?
Okay.
How are they staying ahead of the competition?
Well, they're doing a few things.
Okay.
First, they're continuously investing in R&D to develop new technologies and capabilities.
Okay.
They have a dedicated R&D team that's constantly innovating and identifying those emerging trends.
It's like an arms race in the pharmaceutical world.
It really is.
Just constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly. And they're also focusing on operational excellence. They've implemented those lean manufacturing principles and other initiatives to optimize their processes and reduce costs.
So it's not just about cutting edge science. It's about delivering that science in a way that's efficient and cost effective.
Right.
Okay.
They're aiming to be the best in both the science and operations, which is a really powerful combination in this industry.
It sounds like they have a solid strategy to tackle all these challenges.
Yeah.
But beyond, the numbers and the strategies, I'm curious about the human element.
Right.
We talked about the leadership. But what about the people, on the ground that are making all this happen?
Yeah, you're talking about the scientific staff, the engineers, the folks in the labs, the manufacturing facilities. They are the heart of the operation.
Right.
And Life Sciences seems to recognize that.
Okay, so what can you tell me about their workforce?
Okay.
Like, what kind of talent are they attracting and retaining?
Well, the DRHP emphasizes their commitment to building this highly skilled and motivated workforce.
Okay.
They have over 2,000 scientific staff,
Wow.
and a lot of them hold advanced degrees.
That's a significant investment in human capital.
It is.
It really suggests that they're serious about attracting top talent.
They are. And they have this robust training and development program to make sure that all their employees are, equipped with the latest knowledge and skills.
So it's not just about hiring smart people.
Right.
It's about constantly investing in their growth and development as well.
Yeah, and they've fostered this work environment
Okay.
that really encourages innovation and collaboration.
Okay.
They have a pretty flat organizational structure that promotes, open communication and idea sharing.
So it's not like a top-down hierarchical culture.
No.
They're empowering their employees to contribute their ideas.
Yeah.
And really take ownership of their work.
Exactly. And that's the kind of environment that attracts and keeps top talent.
Yeah.
People want to work for companies that value their contributions and give them the opportunity to grow and make a difference.
It's a smart strategy.
It is.
Because in today's job market, companies really need to stand out to attract the best and the brightest.
Right. It's so competitive.
It sounds like Sai Life Sciences is doing just that.
They are. And it's not just about, attracting talent. It's about keeping it as well.
Right.
They have a number of initiatives to boost employee engagement and satisfaction,
Okay.
including competitive compensation and benefits packages, flexible work arrangements, and opportunities for career advancement.
So they're taking a really holistic approach to talent management.
Yeah.
They're not just throwing money at the problem.
No.
They're really creating a workplace where people actually feel valued and supported.
Exactly. And that's essential for long-term success.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it's the people that make a company great. It's their passion, their dedication, their expertise that really drives that innovation and growth.
It's a good reminder that behind every successful company,
Yeah.
there's all these talented and committed individuals
Right.
working hard to bring that vision to life.
Yeah.
So we've looked at their strengths, their approach to mitigating risks,
Right.
and their focus on building this really strong team. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that question we posed earlier.
Okay.
Is Sai Life Sciences truly poised for success
Yeah.
despite all these challenges that they face?
Well, based on everything we've reviewed, they seem to be doing a lot of things right.
Okay.
They have a strong leadership team, a solid business model, and a clear strategy for growth.
Okay.
They're aware of the risks.
Right.
And they're taking steps to mitigate them.
But they're not operating in a vacuum, right?
Right.
There's a lot of fierce competition in this market.
Yeah.
And there's always that potential for, unforeseen challenges.
Absolutely, that's true.
To pop up.
But from what we've seen,
Yeah.
they seem well equipped to navigate those challenges.
Okay.
They're agile, they're innovative, and they have a strong focus on operational excellence.
So it's a mixed bag, but overall,
Yeah.
a pretty compelling picture.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we head into the final part of this deep dive,
Okay.
I think it's important to talk about, the elephant in the room.
That's right. The IPO itself.
Yeah. That's the ultimate question.
Yeah.
For potential investors, is
Sure.
this a good opportunity to invest in Sai Life Sciences?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to take everything we've learned
Yeah.
about their business, their
Right.
financials, their
Right.
growth strategy, the risks involved,
Yep.
and try to assess whether or not this IPO is a wise investment.
Exactly. We're going to break it all down
Okay.
in the next segment.
Okay, so we've really kind of dissected, Sai Life Sciences' business model,
Yeah.
their financials, their growth strategy.
Right.
And we even peeked behind the curtain a little bit
Hmm?
at their leadership and their company culture.
Yeah.
Now, the big question,
The big one.
is this IPO a golden ticket or is it a potential pitfall?
It is the moment of truth.
It is.
And to answer that, responsibly,
Right.
we need to look at, everything we've learned and look at the big picture.
Okay, so let's put on our investor hats for a second
Yes.
and really assess this opportunity. Okay.
What are the key factors that we should be considering
Yeah.
when we're evaluating an IPO like this?
Well, firstly, we have to, go back to those financials.
Okay.
While their revenue growth and their profit margins look really impressive, we need to scrutinize, their debt situation and their cash flow trends.
All right.
Are they over leveraged?
Right.
Can they sustain this growth while they're investing so heavily in expansion?
So it's not just about how much money they're making today,
Right.
but how, financially stable they are.
Exactly.
And their ability to generate cash flow.
Yeah, in the future.
In the future. Okay.
And next, we have to consider their market position.
Okay.
While they are a major player in India, the global CRAMS market is intensely competitive.
Oh, it is.
Can they really compete with giants like, Wuxi Aptech and Lonza?
Right.
Do they have a unique value proposition that sets them apart?
Well, it seems like, their focus on that complex chemistry and those integrated drug discovery services, that's like their key differentiator.
Mm-hmm.
But is that enough to really carve out a sustainable niche in this really crowded market?
That's a question only time will tell.
Yeah.
We have to really assess their growth strategy. And if it's realistic and achievable, are their expansion plans too aggressive?
Mm-hmm.
Can they attract and keep the talent that they need to execute their vision?
And of course, we can't forget about the whole regulatory landscape.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
The pharmaceutical industry is so heavily regulated, and any misstep could have significant consequences.
Right.
So how robust are their compliance systems? Can they navigate this ever-evolving regulatory environment, both in India and globally?
That's key.
It's a lot to think about. And then there's also that wild card of, client concentration.
Right.
While they're, working to diversify their client base, they're still really heavily reliant on a few key customers.
Yeah. What happens if they lose one of those big contracts?
Exactly.
That's a valid concern.
Okay, so with all these factors in mind,
Yeah.
what's your overall assessment? Thumbs up, thumbs down on the Sai Life Sciences IPO?
Well, there's no easy answer.
Okay.
It's complex.
Yeah.
There's promising potential, but there's also inherent risks.
So no crystal ball predictions.
I wish I had one, but unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the decision of whether to invest or not really comes down to individual risk tolerance and their own investment goals.
So what advice would you give to someone who's really considering investing in this IPO?
Well, firstly, I'd urge them to read the entire Draft Red Herring Prospectus.
Okay.
Not just the excerpts that we talked about here.
Okay.
It's so important to understand, all of the company's financials, their business model, their risks, and, their management team in detail.
So do your research, don't just jump in based on the headlines or the hype.
Exactly. And secondly, I would recommend, talking with a financial advisor who can really give some personalized guidance based on individual circumstances.
It's always wise to get, expert advice
Always.
before making any major investment decisions.
Right.
Any other parting thoughts or insights for our listeners today?
The world of investing, it's so dynamic and unpredictable.
It is.
No investment is without risk.
Right.
And IPOs, in particular, can be very volatile.
Yeah. So it's essential to approach this opportunity with caution.
Yes. A healthy dose of caution.
Or a clear understanding of what those potential downsides could be.
Exactly. And remember, investing is a long game. Don't get swayed by those short-term market fluctuations. Focus on the fundamentals of the business and its long-term growth potential.
Sound advice. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Sai Life Sciences and their upcoming IPO, what's the takeaway message for our listeners today?
I think Sai Life Sciences presents this really compelling investment opportunity with a unique position in the CRAMS market. However, potential investors really need to, carefully weigh the risks and rewards before they make any decisions.
It's all about, informed decision-making.
Yes.
Not impulsive actions.
Right.
Do your research, seek expert advice, and invest wisely.
Very well said. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about a company, its industry, and the market forces, the better equipped you'll be to make those smart decisions.
Excellent point. So as we sign off today, we encourage you to continue your research, stay curious, and always strive to be an informed investor.
Happy investing, everyone.